This is the tale of a great game that is bogged down by bad decision making. And I'm not talking about the microtransactions because, to be quite honest, they are irrelevant. They do not matter in the slightest, in any way, shape, or form. You could play this entire game from start to finish and not even know that the microtransactions exist unless you went on YouTube and you see everybody fucking talking about them for whatever reason. But the bad decisions, in my opinion, come in the form of the way in which a single player story is essentially treated. Now, mechanics wise, in every single player game that you play, you have multiple different save slots, allowing you to create multiple different characters, to take them on multiple different journeys. Maybe one day you might do this instead of that, you might go in this direction instead of that direction. This is my fourth character that I've essentially deleted and restarted. And this fourth character wasn't even supposed to exist because of me forgetting to turn on something when I deleted my game information. I ended up losing my third character, reverting back to my second character, and starting all over again. Now, when I say that mechanics are the bane of this game, I mean in multiple different forms. Combat in this game is stiff. If you are someone who has played Elden Ring or Sekiro or hell, Assassin's Creed or any type of third person melee focus, plus we've got a little bit of magic. I would even say if you're somebody who's played Monster Hunter, which is a game that is also from Capcom, the fighting mechanics and the way in which you wield weapons in Monster Hunter is so much more fluid and dynamic and feels so much better in comparison to this game. I absolutely despise Warrior. I hate Mage. No, I can't say I hate Mage. I hate Archmage with an absolute passion. And those were the first two characters that I essentially created. My first character was a warrior that graduated to the new vocation of a fighter. My second character was a mage who graduated to the vocation of being an Archmage. And I hated both of them. I hate the way in which magic is done in this world. I hate the way the warrior feels during combat, and it really took me sitting down and going, okay, maybe fourth time is the charm, where I created a rogue, and I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And then I branched out and I found other vocations such as archer and the mystic spear hand. Fantastic, love them. I am a fan of fast combat with the ability to readjust in the middle of combat. I absolutely despise slow, clunky combat, which I felt were really the vocations for both Archmage and for Warrior as well. Once I landed on Rogue, the way in which this game played completely changed for me. The ability to leap into fights, dodge out, jump back in, the ability to pull enemies towards me with the grappling hook, the ability to do massive damage, hopping on top of the bosses and slamming my knife into their eye, or maybe slamming my knife into the back of their skull, into the back of their shins, throwing them off balance, dropping them on the floor. In my opinion, it has one of my most favorite aspects ever, which is the fact that I can rob people when I knock them down, which is like literally me running up on them and putting my hands in their pockets, like, what you got, baby? What you got? So much fun. That dynamic completely changed how much I loved the game. And it really took me, which is uncharacteristic of me. I'm the type of person that if I don't like your game in the first hour or two, I fall out of love with your game, unless it's the only thing that's available. But there was always something in the background of Dragon's Dogma 2 that told me I'm going to love this game. I just need to figure out where I land inside this game for my type of playstyle. Now, moving beyond the mechanics of combat, we arrive at the mechanics of quest design. The quest design in this game is 10 years old. And what I mean by that is the quest design in this game feels as though it is the exact same quest design system from Dragon's Dogma 1 and Dark Arisen, where it's basically here's a quest, go on quest, complete quest. There are no variations or other ways in which you can probably solve or handle this quest that leads to different things and different outcomes in any way, shape, or form, and then come back and complete quest. That sucks. Especially since we've had these fantastic quests in games over the last few years that allow you to tackle these situations in multiple different ways, along the lines of Cyberpunk 2077, Baldur's Gate 3, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, even in Elden Ring. All of these different ways that you can approach a situation and have the world react to the decisions that you make. Yes, the feel of going back to basically 2010, 2012, 2014 quest design, which is basically, here's a thing, go do a thing, come back, you get rewarded for a thing, but it doesn't matter if you did all of these other things while you were on this quest, sucks. Because there were so many times that I felt as though you should have been rewarded for the way in which you handled certain things in game. Like, for instance, I'm going to talk about the Royal Palace. There are multiple missions in the Royal Palace where you have to infiltrate the Royal Palace. This game does not have a stealth system. Yes, if you're playing Rogue, you can kind of do a little bit of a stealth thing, but no, this game doesn't have a stealth system where you can sneak up on enemies and knock them out if you get a drop on them, or if you can sneak up on enemies and you can put them to sleep and then move their bodies so that they're not discovered in any way, shape, or form. No, doesn't have that. It is very much straightforward. And if you get caught, you get punished for it. There was a mission early on where I was playing as my mage, where I had to infiltrate a jail. And the second I got into the jail, I got jumped, instantaneously thrown into a cell. Of course, I was going to get out of the cell because I had a key that allowed me to escape. But the second I stepped out of the cell, I got my ass beat again. When I played on my rogue, the first time before my save got essentially reset and I lost a few hours, I went down into the jail cell. I was able to speak to the guy. I was able to get out without anybody seeing me. The second time, the second I walked in, they tried to jump me, and my rogue said, "These lefts and these rights are made for everyone." And I beat the ever loving shit out of every single guard that came in my way. Went to the cell, got what I needed, and then I left. And the ability to do that on the mage just simply was not there because of the way in which casting works early on for the mage and the archmage character, where you actually have to stand still and wait for it to finish casting. But here's the thing: enemies run at you at Mach 6, they have leaps, they have jumps, and the first thing they do is they punch you directly in the mouth, which means that there is no casting that's going to happen in any way, shape, or form. I don't like that type of design. I feel as though that if you're going to introduce stealth missions, then have a stealth mechanic or stealth aspect inside of your game that the players are going to be able to play with and they're going to be able to enjoy. Now, one of the things that was fun was that I discovered that you could essentially wear armor for that area and for those factions. So dress like a guard and you're allowed to basically walk around them where they don't really bother you, dress like a member of high society, and you're able to walk into these high society areas because you look the part. I feel as though the game should have done a way better job explaining that. Maybe introduce a mission early on where you dress as maybe like a bandit or something along those lines to infiltrate them, and they're like, yeah, nobody really questions you if you look like you're supposed to be there. But no, there is no stealth mechanic, but there are stealth missions, and I feel as though that is bad game design. Now, where the game does fantastic is the pawn system. I absolutely love the pawn system. I love the vocation system. I think both of those are absolutely fantastic, and that there are places where you can expand upon it. I like the fact that the pawns basically walk around throughout the entire world, and your experience with them will always be different. Maybe one time you're walking over to where you know an ogre is, and the ogre's by himself sitting on a rock. Another time you walk over there in another playthrough, and the ogre's over there fighting for his fucking life because he's getting jumped by like 9 pawns that happen to come out of a rift you opened. As they happen to be coming out of a rift that you opened up early on in your playthrough that you completely fucking forgot about. Or you're walking into town and one of your friends who's way further ahead of you, their high level pawn comes walking over, like, hey, My master told me to help as many people as I can. Can I help you? And you look at their stats and they're completely decked out. So you bring them on your journey to be like this really, really auxiliary support for your group, which is what essentially happened to me, which is the pawns themselves take on a level of personality. I was walking to town. I ended up running into, I think I was like level 14, I ended up running into a random level 32 archer pawn. And she became the life of the party. She was leading the way. She was pointing stuff out. She was pointing at this, pointing at that, because she had went on adventures with her master. And when she comes to your world, she remembers the chests and the location of really great items, and she points these things out as you're going on your quest. And that is fantastic. I love the fact that all of the pawns feel unique. They feel different because of their experiences that they have with you. I know that my pawn has went off on her own journeys and has come back to me with items and thumbs up and hearts that she's gotten from running with other people because of the way in which I've essentially decked her out, because she is very much a support pawn. And that is fantastic. I love the fact that you always have like that one dedicated, your number two pawn, and she's just a healer. Am I ever going to like send her over to be like a different vocation or something on those lines? Maybe when she maxes out, but I don't have to worry about that right now because I see a whole lot of other pawns that people have created that I've been able to integrate into my team that I'm able to use. And one of the saddest things, funnily enough, is when you out level a pawn, but they've been such a personality in your group for so long that it kind of a little bit breaks your heart that you have to let them go and you have to move past them and bring in somebody new. It feels as though like you're leaving behind a friend and you're gaining like this new friend and you have to like create this new trust system with that person. I love that. I completely love that system in the game. That system is going to keep me engaged for like a really, really long time. And depending on how other people structure their pawns, the way in which they interact with you is completely different. Like someone's pawn had the ability to basically throw me into the air with their shield, and he calls out, he's like, arisen master, use me for leverage. And like he's crouched, so I'm running over, like, what's he about to do? Yeets me 20 feet into the air. I land on the monster, I do big damage, and I hop off. Or when you hop off from really high, they'll readjust and catch you so you don't take fall damage. They'll put you onto the ground. They'll give you high fives, fist bumps. The pawn system is my favorite part of the game. Give me a good companion system, and you're going to be able to hold me down and keep me engaged so that I continue playing your game for a really, 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 really long time. Outside of that, the exploration in this game is fantastic. I love that it's dangerous. I love the fact that if you spend too long outside, you begin to lose segments of your health bar. So you have to stop, you have to camp, you have to rest so that you can get back into the fight for the next day. I love the fact that once it becomes nighttime, it's a whole different breed of monsters at night that are way more dangerous. Like I fought the werewolf, or at least I think it's a werewolf, early in the morning, but there is something about fighting that werewolf super late at night. There was one night where I think I was walking down like this really dark corridor, and as I'm walking down the corridor, I see these wings unfurl and a massive health bar pops up on the screen. And I'm like, nah, son, I'm good. And I turn around and I start running in the opposite direction. That's great. I love that level of exploration. I love when exploring is both rewarding, a thrill, and absolutely dangerous. In my opinion, they nail those aspects of the game. The pawn system is fantastic, just as it was in the first game, and the exploration is just as good. Now, what would I give it overall? I don't really like doing uh points for review, but I definitely feel as though this game lands somewhere between buy now or wait a month. Like wait a month for them to drop the updates that fix a lot of the issues that the PC is essentially having. Wait that month for them to add the create a new character option on the main screen. Like, wait a month. Like, it's okay to wait a month because we've got a bunch of really, really great games that have come out consistently right now. But at the exact same time, if you're somebody that doesn't really bug you and you're willing to take those extra steps to create a new character, this is a buy now. I would say go out, pick it up, sit down, have fun. You're going to have a blast. All you have to do is you have to figure out where exactly you fit inside of the gameplay. Are you somebody that you don't mind sitting in the back and taking your time and casting big spells? Or are you somebody that wants to be in the front, taking damage, eating up, soaking damage for your team while your squad basically blows shit up? Or are you somebody like me that you prefer faster, quicker combat because you're used to faster, quicker combat with the ability to dodge in and out of damage that the enemy may cause? Once you figure that out, you're going to have an absolute fun time with this game. But if you've been playing Dragon's Dogma 2, comment down below, let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.